Ranking the best abilities in Madden 25. And boys, we're back here with our first ability ranking video. Today, I just want to give an overview of my thoughts on every single one of these abilities that you can run. This is coming from an Ultimate Team perspective, but a lot of this stuff is going to hold true whether it's a CFM Ultimate Team, because the abilities are going to be the abilities at the end of the day. Before we get into today's video, I do want to talk about our sponsor real quick, MMOEXP.com. If you guys want an alternative to buying packs, consider buying coins at MMOEXP and make sure to use code DILL at checkout for 5% off your order. Usually I rank these abilities like S tier, A tier, B tier, C tier, D tier. What was the old S tier, I'm gonna say this is must run, because these are gonna be like the top end abilities that I'm really liking at every single position. Instead of an A tier right here, I'm gonna call this great, because I think there are some abilities that do add to a lot of schemes. They're not must run, or they're not my favorite abilities at every single position. Instead of a B tier, we're gonna have a mid tier as well. Instead of a C tier, we're gonna have a trash tier, and we're gonna get rid of D and F. So a little bit more clear my thoughts on these abilities. So let's get into it right here, where the first one we have is Agile Extender. Where Agile Extender and Anchored Extender, I have very similar thoughts to both of these. They aren't the worst things in the world when slot DB blitzes are like the meta, but I feel like the main things you play are like send your whole teams with linebackers like 3-4 odd, potential 3-3-5 odd. There are some like dime dollar blitzes as well, but it's not really like slot CBs. So for me, these are kind of like useless. Don't really do anything. Gonna be in the trash tier for me. Then after that, we do have Fearless right here. And Fearless, I don't think it is a must run ability. A lot of times Fearless is must run when the under pressure ability on defense is really good. I don't think that is that great either. And tomorrow's video will be defensive abilities if you are curious. Fearless is either like mid or great for me, and it's one of these two. I'm gonna go ahead and slightly place it in the great tier. After that, we have Gift Wrapped, and I think Gift Wrapped is one of the best abilities you can run in the game. And the reason why I say that is it is just like an ultimate like don't get cheated style ability, where if you ever notice your receivers just kind of, I don't want to say dropping open passes, but a lot of times if they get a diving animation, they will just drop it. And sometimes when you run some of these other abilities, like the next one we have Gunslinger. Gunslinger, known for its overthrows, known for kind of making receivers dive if you do have the ability, right? Especially if receivers get bumped. Gift Wrap makes it to where those animations just really don't happen. So Gift Wrap, I think, is one of the best abilities you can run in the game. And I think with the AP setup right now, you gotta run Gift Wrapped. And I feel the same way about Gunslinger as well. Speeding up the QB releases, like especially like versus a lot of these meta blitzes as well. Gunslinger makes the game really, really easy. It's okay to deal with the overthrows, right? And I understand you not liking Gunslinger, but again, at this point, it's just like Gunslinger, gotta run it. After that, we have Gutsy Scrambler. Gutsy Scrambler, I don't really think this ability is good. I'm gonna go ahead and place it in the trash tier. There is like a little bit of potential with it, but I feel like to really use Gutsy Scrambler, this is like a ability we're talking about like end-to-end Madden, where you would have like Roaming Deadeye, Gutsy Scrambler, and just try to roll out like crazy. After that, you know what? We'll just cover like the Homer and like indoor baller style ability that make it easier to get your X Factor. I feel like all these just really, you just shouldn't run. That includes like Closer. I accidentally repeated some of them, my bad on that. But now we get Howrah Master. Is like obviously like a must run ability, like it is an elite level ability. We'll just talk about it right now. Master Tactician and Backyard Quarterback, these are all basically like almost the same thing, and it goes in order like this, okay? Where you would run, first off, if you can get Master Tactician, run Master Tactician. It is Howrah Master, Conductor, and QB Playmaker all in one ability. Now if you can't get Master Tactician, but you can get Backyard Quarterback is Howrah Master plus QB Playmaker. And can't get Backyard Quarterback, run Howrah Master. These are here all going to be right by each other for me. And since we're talking about like route style abilities, we're gonna have like Wide Receiver Apprentice and also Slot Apprentice right here. I do think it is a little bit obvious right here where, okay, so why would you run these abilities? Well, if you can't get Howrah Master, of course, right? That's where these abilities come in. Now, I will say Outside Apprentice, I don't think is great. Like Outside Apprentice, you don't need to run. Like this, in my opinion, is like mid tier, don't need it. Now, Slot Apprentice, Wide Receiver Apprentice, or even Tight End Apprentice as well, all great. Wide Receiver Apprentice is obviously the best because you get hot routes everywhere, like outside, inside. But Slot Apprentice, Wide Receiver Apprentice, I'm gonna go ahead and place this in the must run ability tab too. But obviously, like these 5 abilities right here are all like closely related, if that makes sense, right? Like if you get Master Tactician, you don't need these 4. If you get Backyard Quarterback, you don't need these 3. If you get Howrah Master, you don't need these 2. Now, if you don't get these, that's where these come into play. Now right after that, we get Human Joystick, and Human Joystick for the running back, I feel like it's not bad, it's kind of fun, but I think it's mid this year. I don't think it's crazy. I feel like the side-to-side movement in this game as a whole just really isn't great. I think the movement is the #1 thing that holds human joystick back from being like a potential great ability. I don't think it would be a must-run ability. Now, after that, we get identifier, and identifier this year, thinking about all the defenses you play, you pretty much know where the user is going to be, but this is still like a pretty great ability to get, like seeing where the user is. If they do switch up who they user, it's nice to get. I understand why you would run it, and that's kind of what the gray tier is, right? Like, I understand why you would run it. After that, we get long range Deadeye, and we'll talk about all the Deadeye abilities right by each other. Long range Deadeye, I think it's mid, like it's okay. Not my favorite Deadeye ability. No look Deadeye, I think it's trash. Also, I'm not really too big a fan of dashing or roaming this year. Like, I think the reason why roaming is good, I think, is when you drift back in the pocket crazy, it like helps you not get inaccurates there. And for that reason, I'm also gonna play this roaming mid. I'm gonna place dashing in the trash tier, red zone trash, sideline Deadeye kind of right by long range Deadeye, it's okay. Now, high point Deadeye, I don't even think you need this. I'm gonna say it's trash. Low point Deadeye, you can't even use if you're on the freeform setting because you can't low ball, so that's gonna be in the trash tier. Inside Deadeye, don't really like this one, it's gonna be trash. Lofting Deadeye is also gonna be in the trash tier, but my favorite Deadeye ability is pocket Deadeye. I think this right here is actually a really good ability in the game, and I think it's great. I like it more than fearless and identifier for sure. Pocket Deadeye is something that I wish I could fit in on almost every quarterback I run. Right now in Ultimate Team, obviously we run into some AP issues where I'm prioritizing like the Gunslinger, Gift Wrapped, and Master Attack if I can get it. I'm also going to be prioritizing some other abilities where we're about to cover them right here. Pass Lead, Elite, and Set Feet Lead. Now, these are not crazy this year. When you can stack Set Feet Lead and Gunslinger, or Pass Lead, Elite, and Gunslinger together, I think it's crazy. And now I don't really know where to place these because, am I saying they are must run? I don't believe they are must run. I think they, you know what? I'm gonna say they're more great this year. I think Gunslinger is the #1 thing you need right now. That could change. Like, I think the stack on quarterback that you're going to want is Gunslinger, Gift Wrap, Master Attack, and a velocity ability. Like, that is going to be like the end game stack. I think these abilities make more of a difference than Set Feet Lead, Pass Lead, Elite. Now, these abilities are still good. Velocity did get toned down a little bit, but again, I just don't think you need these abilities right now. I think Gunslinger is the one you need. So yeah, hopefully that makes sense. After that, we get QB Playmaker, Wide Receiver Playmaker. Playmaker in general, I think is pretty mid this year. I don't think your players move crazy. I also feel like in years past, I felt like you had a little bit more control. I don't know if I'm crazy about that. They just don't really move how they once did, and that's really like the game, right? It's just a movement. Quick Draw right here, also another pretty mid-tier ability. You don't really need Quick Draw if you have Gunslinger. It's kind of just something to where in Ultimate Team, if you have 1 AP, a lot of times I just throw on a Quick Draw because I need something to spend 1 AP on, right? After that, we get Recuperation, where we can talk about all the stamina abilities right by each other. I think in this game, you don't really need them. Like, I just haven't had a time where I'm like, oh, wow, like, yeah, I need Recuperation. And I doubled up right here, Recuperation and Second Wind. I'm going to go ahead and place them all in the trash here. Just don't think you need them. Safety Valve right here, not really a good ability in this game. For quarterback, going to place that in the trash tier. Magician as well. There's always some potential right here because of what it says it does with double moves, but Magician doesn't really do anything crazy. Going to place it in the trash tier. Now we get some running back abilities right here where it's Spin Cycle, Bulldozer. We'll talk about Evasive. We'll talk about Tank. These are all pretty good this year. I think Arm Bar is probably the worst. I'm going to place that in the trash tier. Bulldozer and Bruiser, I'm going to go ahead and place them in the great tier. Now, I know a lot of people like run on conservative, and this is going to be the thing, okay? I think they are specifically great, and I have the same thoughts about Evasive, Spin Cycle, and Jukebox. Like, I think the spins and jukes, again, they aren't bad this year. It's just like Jukebox isn't overpowered, Evasive isn't overpowered like it was last year, but I think specifically these abilities all turn into great when you have Tank. I think Tank is the best ability you can play on so many people. Like running, I love it on running backs, love it on tight ends, love it on receivers. Anyone that can get the ball, I think Tank is so valuable because it basically makes it to where the defense can't hit stick. And I'm gonna go ahead and place Tank in this top tier. Now, if you don't want to play on conservative and not really risk fumbling, I love Tank. I love it so much. I love it on the running back. It's probably my favorite running back ability in the game. So gonna be in the must run tab for me. And after that, we get Leapfrog. I think that's pretty bad. Tight out's pretty bad. Protected, it's kind of mid. Like, I don't think it does a lot. I think Pass Protector or some things we'll cover later do a little bit more. Conductor is a great ability in the game. Being able to hot route a little bit faster, kind of like, again, though, do you need conductor when you have master tactician? No, but I think conductor kind of right by like pocket deadeye too. I think like pretty similar things to pocket deadeye and conductor. After that, we also get a fast break right here. Doesn't really do much this year. Gonna be in the trash tier. Now we go on a run of offensive line abilities, where first one we have is all day. I think all day is great. I'm gonna say great for all day. There's no secure protector this year. Edge protector, I think it's mid. I think like fool me once, like lifeguard, matador, natural talent, polar elite, screen protector, tear proof, tough nut, unspun, all pretty trash. Like I don't think they're really worth running. Nasty streak, I feel like I need to use this a little bit more, but it depends on the scheme. There's some other things I'd prioritize for offensive line in the run game specifically right now, and we'll talk about it. I'm gonna place it mid right here. After that, we get threat detector. Threat detector is one of the better abilities you can get in the game. Threat detector right now, it's kind of not feasible to run it, but it would be a must run ability. If you can get threat detector, you need to run it, man. It is so freaking good. And after that, we get post up. I think post up is overall really like balanced, whether it's the run game or the pass game. Like post up on the center a ton, and that's gonna be in the great tier for me. So they broke up secure protector in 2 parts. If you're familiar with last year's abilities, pretty much pass protector gonna win on the win off the jump, right? So pass protector gonna be in the great tier for me, and also run protector gonna be in the great tier for me. Now I think like end game offensive line, talking about the future, I think you would want pass protector plus all day. That would be nice. Or in the run game, run protector plus nasty streak. So yeah, now we're gonna go on a run of receiver abilities right here, where we're gonna go ahead and place like all the elites right by each other, and also matchup nightmare, where matchup nightmare, I feel like it's just okay. I don't think it lights up everywhere, but I don't think it actually does a ton. I think it's more mid tier than great. After that, we get a bunch of the in elites: mid in, mid out, deep in, deep out, short in, short out. So mid in and mid out, I think they all provide value, but mid in, mid out gonna be mid, no pun intended. Deep in is also gonna be in the mid tier for me. I'm gonna have short out in the mid tier, and we're going to have deep out and short and elite in the great tier. I think deep out elite is actually really good for sideline animations, and I mean Calvin Johnson with deep out elite kind of like head tapped me a couple of times. So yeah, short and elite would be in the must run category if this next ability just didn't exist, and that's gonna be route tech, where route tech just fries the man coverage. Love it. Gonna be in the must run tier. If you're running a wide receiver ability, I think it must be route tech or potential like, you know, like slot apprentice, wide receiver apprentice. But if you can't get route tech, that's where short and elite comes into play. So yeah, gonna be in the great tier for me. After that, we're gonna finish off our running back abilities right here, where we get reach for it. Again, we have some double up here and there. My apologies for that. I don't think it's great. I'm gonna place this in the trash here. Now, balance beam. Balance beam is like low key a worse version of tank, which is kind of like a compliment. Balance beam isn't bad, man. It really isn't. I'm actually gonna place it in the mid tier right here. You bounce off a ton of hit sticks with it. It's just like you don't need to you don't need to use balance beam when tank exists, you know, like you just don't need it. So that's why it's mid for me. Backfield mismatch is not bad for the running back. I'm gonna go ahead and place this also in the great tier by like short in and deep out. We get goal line back right here. Can help you get some easier touchdowns. I'm gonna place this in the mid tier. We get grab and go, help the rack animations a little bit. Think it's solid. Also gonna place this in the mid tier. We get red zone threat, where red zone threat, I don't think it's great. When it works, it's great, but it doesn't obviously always work. This is going to be one that I'm also going to place in the mid tier. We get run off elite. We're run off elite and honorary lineman. This is a play style thing where if you're running the ball a ton, I think it can add a little bit of value. So I'm going to place these two also in the mid tier. Now we get Slotomatic. I think Slotomatic is really good. I just prefer route tech. So Slotomatic's going to be right by like short in and deep out for me. Going to be in this great tier. Return man, going to be in the trash tier. Energizer is going to be right by recoup for me. I'm going to place this backfield master right here in the must run, because again, this is like another ability related to Howrah Master. Really, it's one ability in here, like Master Tag, Howrah Master, or RB Apprentice, Tight End Apprentice, Slot Apprentice, or Backfield Master. So, but you don't need this ability if you have Master Tag. Then lastly, right here, we do get third down threat, which I'm also going to place in the trash tier. So Yeah, boys, this has been my thoughts on the abilities in Madden 25, man. Let me know your guys' thoughts down below in the comments. I feel pretty good about this list. Again, must run for me is like abilities that love at every single position, like the gift wrap, the gunslinger, the master attack, or like the routes. Love tank, threat detector. It's just something you should run if you can get it. Also route tech as well on the receivers. So that's like the main thing. Like the must run tier is like the abilities that I'm like, you need. Great. I feel like you don't need these abilities, but I understand why you would run them. Mid is just kind of like, I don't really think they do a ton, but I mean, I guess they add a little bit of value. And trash, I would just completely stay away. So yeah, boys, hope you guys did enjoy this video today, man. If you did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more Madden 25 content just like this. Now, if you guys do want to go ahead and see me use some of these abilities in action, have been streaming it here on both YouTube and Twitch. To watch on YouTube, make sure to hit that noti bell as well. You'll be notified every time I upload or go live here. Or if you guys want to watch on the Twitch, check the links in the description, hit that Twitch with a follow. But if you guys do want another video to watch, check out this one right here.